Hi everyone, it's still Spark 24 and I am still Adewumi Adeni, your biology instructor. Today we'll be looking at physiology. We're considering the systems of the body. It's the systems. Okay, and when you say physiology, you're talking about the functions the body of the animal, functions within, as physiology. Now, briefly, what is physiology? Physiology can be defined as the branch of biology that deals with how the body functions. The branch of biology that studies how the body function. As physiology talks about function of the body at the various level of organization, and it explains the physical and chemical factors that are responsible for progressions of life, for development of life, for the origin of life, everything within. Okay, and now if you look at this picture, paint an idea of what physiology is about for us. Of course, look at endocrine system, nervous system, the reproductive system, skeletal system, circulatory system, respiratory system. So, and in the course of this discussion, we'll briefly look at some of these systems. We'll briefly look at some of these systems of the human body. Okay, now the human body, look at the various internal organs. From our understanding of the organization of life, we know that organs come together to form system, and even the organs are made of tissues, and tissues are made up of cells. So briefly, when we look at the various organs of the body, and then we want to briefly consider some of the systems, okay, that these organs constitute. And briefly, we are going to start with, without wasting our time, let's start from the digestive system. The digestive system. When we use the word digestion is the broken down of food into a form that is soluble and which the body can absorb. So what is digestion? The process by which food, the food consists of a complex organic molecule. When you say what is food, you know that food are edible. They are complex organic material that are edible. So food consists of complex molecule, and the process by which this complex molecule of food are broken down into a form that the body of the animals can absorb. That is what we call digestive system. When these complex molecules in food are broken down into simple materials that can be absorbed by the body of the animal, that is digestion. And the cells, the tissue, the organs and glands of the body that work together to ensure the breaking down of food into soluble form constitute digestive system. Okay, so here you have it made up of the alimentary canal and the structures that are associated with it. Of course, when you talk about digestion, it could be intracellular, it could also be extracellular. Intracellular digestion are the type of digestion that occur inside the cell, and then extracellular digestion occur outside the cell. Of course, digestion in human being is extracellular because the alimentary canal or the gut is considered as an extension of the organism body. As an extension of the outside environment into the bodies of the organism, into the body of the animal. So digestion in human is considered to be extracellular. But when you look at simple unicellular organisms like amoeba, paramecium, the digestion inside them take place inside the cell. That is intracellular. And of course, you know that the body of animals consists of carbohydrate, protein, etc. that are digested by the digestive enzyme. A beautiful question to ask is how come, is it possible for the digestive enzyme that digest food in our body to digest us? They don't, because digestion takes place in a compartment. Okay, so the evolution of compartmentalization of the evolution of the evolutionary adaptation of processing and digesting food in a compartment. Okay, in a compartment. That is what helps us to overcome the problem of self-digestion. All right. So looking at the digestive system, we have digestion in the mouth, where the digestive juice or the secretion there is the saliva secreted by the salivary gland. When the food moves from the mouth to through the esophagus to the stomach. In the stomach, we have folded gastric mucosa cells that line the wall of the stomach that secrete gastric juice, which bring about digestion inside the stomach. And of course, the gastric juice consists of the enzyme renin, pepsin, and hydrochloric acid alongside, which create the required pH for digestion in the stomach. So we have the acidic pH. So we have the enzyme renin that coagulate milk by converting soluble milk protein to insoluble milk protein. Then we have pepsin that converts protein to peptone for the food, and then the food, the sham now leave the stomach and move down to small intestine. As soon as the food, the small intestine smell food, the pancreas will be stimulated to produce this pancreatic juice, which contain importantly trypsin, that will continue the digestion of stomach, digestion of protein which starts in the stomach, converting peptone to polypeptide, which now move on further, and the polypeptide will be converted to amino acid by erepsin, which is secreted in the part of the intestinal juice. So erepsin will convert polypeptide to amino acid, which is the end product of digestion. Okay, now so that is that about digestion. Now briefly, let's move on to circulatory system. Circulatory system is a system that moves blood and is the subcomponent around the body. The system that moves blood and is the subcomponent around the body, that is what we call circulatory system. Of course, we have open circulation, we have closed circulation. And what are the components of circulatory system? One, there must be a pumping device that will pump the blood. There must be the system of vessels that connect the pumping device to the organs of the body, and there must be a fluid that is circulating, of course. So that's a component. And then so in this case, the pumping device that pumps the blood for human circulatory system is usually the heart. Okay, the heart is the one that pumps the blood. We need circulatory system because we are human beings are complex. So every complex organism would require circulatory system. Of course, in simple unicellular organism like amoeba, there's no need for circulatory system. Why? Because simple diffusion is able to move material in and out of the cell. But now, as the organism begin to increase in size and complexity, as an organism increases in size and complexity, the surface area to volume ratio will become a limiting factor. So if somebody asks you, when will surface area to volume ratio become a limiting factor? The surface area to volume ratio will become a limiting factor as organisms begin to increase in size and complexity, because the distance between body cells and the exchange surface increase. The distance between the body cells and the exchange surface increase with increasing complexity, which therefore means that the distance between, for example, the exchange surface of the lung, the distance between the lung and cells inside the leg are several cellular miles away. Okay, so for material to be effectively move from the lung, like for example, for oxygen to be moved effectively from the lung to the cells in the leg. We require circulatory system. So circulatory system is important as organisms begin to increase in size and complexity. And like I said, we have a system of connecting blood vessels. We have artery, which carry blood away from the heart, and we have veins, which bring blood back to the heart. And of course, the heart, when you look at it, looking at the diagram of the heart, we have 4 chambers. We have the right auricle, the right ventricle, we have the left auricle, and then we have the left ventricle. Of course, all the used blood from the body cells and tissue we enter into the right atrium through a large vein called vena cava. So we have superior vena cava, we have inferior vena cava. If superior vena cava is coming from up, superior or anterior, drain the blood from the head, from the upper part of the body into the right auricle. While inferior vena cava will drain the blood that is coming from the lower part of the body. And when the right auricle is filled with blood, it contracts and pump and then the tricuspid valve that we open, the blood will move into the right ventricle. And when the right ventricle is filled with blood, it contracts and pump the blood through the pulmonary artery, and the blood is moving straight to the lung for oxygenation. So you have Hb plus 4O2, which gives you Hb, O2, 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 4 molecules of oxygen attached. So that is oxyhemoglobin. And when the blood is completely saturated with oxygen, it returns to the heart through pulmonary vein. The pulmonary vein will now return the blood, the oxygenated blood, to the right, to the left auricle, from the left auricle to the left ventricle, and then once the left ventricle is filled with blood, it contract and pump the blood out through the aorta. So the aorta will now supply the blood around the entire body. That's what we call systemic circulation. So we have pulmonary circulation, which is the circulation of the blood between the heart and the lungs. Pulmonary circulation is the circulation of the blood between the heart and the lung, while systemic circulation is circulation of the blood from the heart around the entire body. So from the heart to the lung and back to the heart, pulmonary; from the heart to the entire body system and back to the heart, systemic circulation. And in organisms like frog, where capillary from the skin are part of the circulatory system, we talk about pulmocutaneous circulation, because the blood can get oxygen, can be oxygenated from the skin. So we have capillary from the skin. That's what makes it. It's not ordinary pulmonary circulation, but pulmocutaneous circulation. And that explains why it's not easy for toad and frog to easily be asthmatic, because they can actually, even if the capillary, if the system from the lung or upper part of the lung or the bronchi, the cartilage, they collapse. The guy can ventilate their system from the skin. Okay, so that is briefly about the heart. Now, of course, we have the entire circulatory system here. If you look here, this is the kidney, okay, and you have the other capillary. This is the liver, okay, and this is the gut. So if you look at it for the system, it is only if you have amplified diagram, it's only the liver that have 3 blood supply. One from the hepatic artery that is bringing oxygenated blood to the liver. This one from the hepatic portal vein, which link the gut to the liver, and we have the hepatic vein that carry deoxygenated blood from the liver to return to the heart. Okay, so this is general circulation. And when you look at the left side of the heart, you have oxygenated blood, the blood bright red, rich in oxygen. When you come to the left side of the heart, you have deoxygenated blood flow. And we need to take note that if you look at this diagram, the left side of the heart is more vascularized. I mean, it's more thick compared to this one, because it's more vascularized and thicker, because that is the part of the heart that supply blood to run the entire systemic circulation. Okay, so this is the entire circulatory system. Now, when you look at this one, it also show how the various blood supply. You have the name of all the blood vessel. This side you have artery, this side you have vein. So when you have When you have abdominal aorta here, you are going to have the one that drain it, the vein. So you have a common iliac artery. Of course, so we have all the blood vessels, the veins, the artery, and I must let you know that if you have an artery carry blood away from the heart, vein return blood to the heart, and the place where the point where you can say, to bring a clearer understanding, where the arteries and the veins meet, the junction between them, that is where you have the capillary. So the capillary the tiniest, okay, the finest blood blood vessel. And most of the time we need to know that exchange of material occur at the level of capillary. Exchange of material does occur at the level of capillary. Now let's move to respiratory system. Of course, when you use the word respiration is the process whereby oxygen is taken into the body and used to oxidize digested food so as to provide energy in the form of ATP, adenosine triphosphate. I say respiration is the process whereby oxygen is taken into the body, and that oxygen is used to oxidize digested food for the purpose of energy production in the form of ATP, adenosine triphosphate. Of course, respiratory system consists of the cells, the tissue, the organ of the body that work, even the glands that work together, the cells, the tissue, the organ, the glands that work together to ensure the intake of oxygen and so to be used to digest food, and then passing out a carbon dioxide from the system. So that, and in this system you have a cellular respiration and you have gaseous exchange. Of course, gaseous exchange is that process that takes in oxygen in and pass out carbon dioxide. So the system taking oxygen and pass out carbon dioxide. When you talk about cellular respiration, that process that occurs inside the cell whereby oxygen is used to oxidize food, that is cellular respiration. Of course, when you look at the respiratory system of man, for example, okay, you have the lung. Okay, you start from you have the nose and the mouth that take in oxygen, and the oxygen moving through the you have the pharynx open into the larynx, larynx open into the trachea open into the bronchus, and bronchioles into the bronchioles, okay, and then the lungs. Of course, the alveoli of the lung here, and when you see amplify, this alveoli of the lung, they have meet all the conditions necessary for gaseous exchange to take place. They have large surface area to volume ratio. It is vascularized by of course, the lung is vascularized by pulmonary artery and pulmonary vein. It's ventilated by both the mouth and the nose. Okay, so that is this is kept the structure of the respiratory system. And of course, like I said, the system brings in oxygen into the body and use the oxygen to oxidize digested food. Gaseous exchange, we are talking about breathing mechanism in man. We have inspiration and we have expiration. Inspiration when you breathe in, and expiration when you breathe out. Now, let's move to excretory system. Excretory system is when you talk about excretion, to start with, excretion is the removal of waste product of metabolism from the body. Excretion, I said, is the removal of waste product of metabolism from the body. Excretion is the removal of waste product of metabolism from the body. But then what do we mean by metabolism? Metabolism refers to the sum total of biochemical reaction that occur in a living cell. Metabolism refers to the sum total of biochemical reaction that occur in a living cell, and is divided into two. We have catabolism and we have anabolism. Catabolism is that reaction that has to do with the breaking down of organic material. For example, respiration, I will just talk about. It has to do with it's a process whereby organic material, food, is broken down to release energy in form of ATP. That's a catabolic reaction. But when you talk about anabolism is a reaction that has to do with the building up of organic material. Anabolism is the building up of organic material. Example of anabolic reaction is like protein biosynthesis, photosynthesis in plant, which produce a waste product of oxygen as the waste product of photosynthesis in plant, while carbon dioxide is the waste product of respiration in animals. So you can see that both carbon dioxide and oxygen are considered waste product depending on what we are, the organism we are talking about. Now, briefly, there are various ways that are excreted in animal, and they have different their own sources. For example, when you take too much of food, too much of intake of food will lead to production of large amount of excretory waste. Or if you, for an individual, if there is breakdown, natural breakdown of protoplasm can also lead to excretory waste. And so now let's briefly look at the sources. Let's look at waste products that are excreted by man. Of course, in the animal kingdom, generally we have uric acid excreted by bird, solid, because they live in a very dry habitat. They have to conserve a lot of water, so they excrete solid, dry urine. Then for organisms that live on land, usually urea are excreted. But for those that live in water, they have abundant water, so they are able to excrete ammonia, even though poisonous, because they can easily dilute it. So we have ammonia, we have uric acid, and we have urea. These are all nitrogenous waste. And we have carbon dioxide, we have water, which are inorganic. And then we also have, for plant, we also have oxygen as an excretory waste. And when you look at the structure of the excretory system, of course, we have two kidneys. The left one slightly higher in position compared to the right one. And on top of each of the kidney, you have the adrenal gland. Because if you take a part of the kidney and you amplify, the functional unit of the kidney is the nephron, which consists of the urinary tubule and the biomarker capsule, and they carry out the process of urine formation. And I must note, I must explain that the process of urine formation consists of occur in three phases. You have ultrafiltration, which is filtration of blood under a very high pressure. And then you have selective reabsorption of useful material. Of course, reabsorption of water, reabsorption of salt, things that are useful to the body are reabsorbed back to the system. And of course, we have hormonal secretion or tubular secretion, whereby some materials are secreted to balance the osmotic pressure of the blood. Okay, that is so that is that about excretion. Now, next one is to look at skeletal system. Of course, the skeleton is a bony framework that supports the body. A skeleton is a framework that supports the body. Without a skeletal system, the body will be shapeless. Okay, so the bony framework that supports the body is the skeleton. And the body, we have from the head, we have the skull. We have, if you're talking about type of skeleton, we have we have ectoskeleton, we have endoskeleton, and we have hydrostatic skeleton. Okay, ectoskeleton, those skeleton of cuticle that are found in the members of the phylum Arthropoda, and hydrostatic skeleton found in the earthworm. And then you have endoskeleton human. Skeletal material include the chitin, and we have a cartilage, and we have the bone. Now, when you look at the mammalian skeleton, you can group into appendicular skeleton, and we have a side skeleton. Appendicular because it lies along the and serve as appendages to the whole skeleton body. So you have the limb and the limb girdle consisting the appendicular skeleton. And then you have the inside skeleton, the skull, the rib, and the spine, the backbone, constituting the inside skeleton. And look at the various bones of the body. Okay, the humerus, longest in the arm. You have the femur, the longest bone in the body. And of course, you have the jaw bone, maxilla, the mandible. You have the spine, where we have about 33 bones for man, starting from the 7 cervical, okay, of course, and 12 thoracic bone. Of course, now when you have the bones of the hand, you have the carpus, you have the metacarpus, and then you have the phalanges, and in the leg you have the tarsa, you have the metatarsa and the phalanges. Of course, you have the fibula, you have the tibia. These are the various bones that you find in the body of man. Now, let's look at the reproductive system. Reproduction is the process by which living things give rise to new individuals of their kind. Reproduction is the process whereby living things give rise to new individuals of their kind. Of course, without reproduction, the species will surely go into extinction, completely wipe out of the race. But since there is continuous reproduction, new individuals are added. Now, when you look at the here we have the female reproductive system, here we have the male reproductive system. Of course, all of them, they have different functions. Fertilization, usually there's what we call usually there is gametogenesis that produce gametes. Gametogenesis consists of we have the type. We have oogenesis, which occur in the female, and we have spermatogenesis, which occur in the male. And the first step, in each of them, there must be meiosis, the reductional division that reduces the diploid number chromosomes of the individual to half. So you have now, so the gamete have haploid number of chromosome. Ploidy level connotes the number of chromosome of each chromosome present in an individual. Okay, so you have the chromosome number reduced to half at gametogenesis, and during fertilization normally takes place and in the fallopian tube. When fertilization takes place, the diploid fertilization is the union of male and female gametes, and at this point, the course when the sperm is released, the head of the sperm contains acrosome that will break the shell membrane on the head, so that the nucleus of the sperm can fuse with the nucleus of the egg, and then a diploid zygote is formed. Okay, so fertilization will reconstitute the diploid number characteristics of the species, of course. So, and if you see reproduction, we also have some organisms that carry out sexual reproduction, but for man, we are sexually reproducing individual and other higher and advanced animals. Now, endocrine system. Of course, endocrine system, when you talk about endocrine system, the system that secretes hormone. Endocrine means ductless, okay? And there are no ducts. So when you talk about endocrine gland, they are glands that secrete their secretion directly into bloodstream, unlike exocrine, like the gland that produce enzyme, or the one that produce digestive juice. Those glands within the gastrointestinal tract, okay, they are dotted. We call them exocrine. Though we could have a gland that are heterocrine, like the pancreas, the testes, the ovary, that have both endocrine and exocrine function. Of course, so the endocrine system produce hormone. What are hormones? To start with, hormones are chemical messengers. Hormones are chemical messengers that are produced by the cells in one part of the organism's body, and which bring about a specific effect on target organs that are located somewhere else in the body. So for a particular hormone, there must be the source. That's, for example, the arterial pituitary gland, and there must be an hormone that are secreted. The secretion, in this case, you can talk about adrenocorticotropic hormone, and there must be a target. The target will be adrenal gland for adrenocorticotropic hormone, and there must be an effect. The effect is to stimulate the adrenal gland to secrete adrenaline, which means that adrenocorticotropic hormone is a tropic hormone. Tropic hormones are hormones that target another gland. For example, follicle stimulating hormone that will target the follicle in the ovary to ripen, and target the mature testes to start producing sperm. So starts to producing sperm. Okay, so this one also type is also we can also refer to that hormone, follicle stimulating hormone, as tropic hormone, because the testes also will secrete another hormone. The testis is another gland. For example, when you talk about luteinizing hormone, it directly causes the secretion of testosterone in male. So tropic hormones are hormones that target another gland. Okay, there are many other glands. Now briefly, the nervous system. The nervous system and the endocrine system work together to maintain homeostasis. They are similar in that both of them are regulated by negative feedback mechanism. A feedback mechanism is a mechanism whereby a process is regulated by the product of the process. And in the case of both endocrine system and nervous system are regulated by negative feedback mechanism, and both of them they both respond to stimuli, and they both secrete chemicals. Okay, now let's look at the constituent. We have a central nervous system, we have peripheral nervous system. The central nervous system consists of the brain and the spinal cord, and every other nervous tissue aside the brain and the spinal cord constitute peripheral nervous system. Okay, so the central nervous system consists of the brain and the spinal cord, while the peripheral nervous system consists of every other nervous tissue aside the brain and the spinal cord. Of course, the peripheral nervous system connects the central nervous system to the environment, form sensory system that link the CNS to the environment, as well as motor system that connects the CNS to the effectors. So you have the motor system and you have the sensory system. Okay, the structure, the organization. So you have the brain and the spinal cord. You have the peripheral nervous system consists of the somatic nervous system and the autonomic nervous system. The somatic nervous system coordinates skeletal movement, while the autonomic nervous system controls involuntary functions within the body. And then the autonomic nervous system is divided into two. You have the sympathetic nervous system, which prepare the body for exercise, for activity. For example, maybe you want to compete in a sport. Your sympathetic nervous system will be stimulated, and usually it consumes a lot of energy. And when you are done with the activities, the parasympathetic nervous system will calm the body. So you have the sympathetic nervous system that prepare the body for activities, while there is parasympathetic nervous system that calms the body down and helps the body to conserve energy. Now, briefly, we are going to be answering some questions on the physiology. Which of these animals absorb digestive food through his body? Which of the following animals absorb digestive food through his body? A. Lizard. B. Fish. C. Frog. D. Tapeworm. Lizard take food directly from the environment. Fish eat food from the environment. Frog eats food from the environment. It's holozoic. The tapeworm is parasitic. They absorb digestive food from the gut of the host. Which of the following hormone causes softening of bone? A. Adrenaline. B. Tyrosine. C. Prolactin. D. Parathyroid hormone. Adrenaline is an emergency hormone that is secreted when you are facing danger. You want to you are stressed, you are scared, you are frightened. Adrenaline will be secreted. Tyrosine control growth, metabolism for body cells. Prolactins control release of milk from the nipple, while parathyroid hormone is the hormone that raises the level of calcium ion in the blood. Where does it get it from? It gets it either from the gut or from the bone. So if you don't have enough calcium in the blood, parathyroid hormone will extract it from your bone. Except for the activities of calcitonin, which counteract the effect of activities of parathyroid hormone. So the appropriate option is option D. A plant tissue that transports food substance is called dash. We have stem, no. We have cortex, no. The xylem, no. The phloem. Both xylem and the phloem are the vascular tissues of the plant. Vascular means that they transport material. Vascularization, and when it's used, the word vascularization means to be supplied with a blood vessel. So vascular tissue transports material, and there are two groups of vascular tissues in plant. We have the xylem and we have the phloem. While the xylem conducts water and mineral salt from the root upward, the phloem translocates manufactured food. Then what is translocation? The movement of manufactured food from the leaf where they are manufactured to the cells and tissue of the plant where they are needed for assimilation. The rest will move to solid organ for storage. Okay. So a plant tube that transports food substance is called phloem. Which of these plants exhibits double fertilization? Algae, pteridophyte, bryophyte. Double fertilization is the characteristics of flowering plants, which belong to angiosperm. Okay, double fertilization belongs characteristics of flowering plant. So we have fertilization taking place twice at the union of the one of the nucleus of the female gametophyte with the egg cell, and the other half will fuse with the cell at the middle, fuse with the endosperm, so to form the triploid. So we have formation of the diploid and formation of triploid in the flowering plant. That's what we call double fertilization. The ovule-bearing female reproductive organ of flowering plant is dash. Is it petal? Petal is the colorful one that attracts pollinator. Sepal is the outermost one that protects the inside and that protects the petal. Stamen is the male reproductive part of the flower, while the carpel is the innermost one that bears the ovule. So option D. Fertilized egg is otherwise known as A. Ovule, B. Fetus. The fetus is the developing baby. C. Ovum. No. D. Zygote. A diploid zygote is formed after fertilization. Ultrafiltration, selective reabsorption, and hormonal secretion are processes involved in A. Formation of red blood cell in the bone marrow. B. Deamination. C. Fertilization. D. Urine formation. Formation of red blood cell occurs in the bone marrow. We know that. Then deamination is the process whereby the amino group are removed from excess protein. Since the body of most animals we cannot store amino acid, so the amino group are removed from the excess intake. When we have human beings that take too much of protein, some can even finish a whole chicken at a sitting. Okay, so the excess amino acid will be deaminated, and after deamination, the remaining carboxylic substance can easily be converted to any compound. Can be converted to glucose. We talk about glucose learning cycle. It can be converted to anything. So, but when you say fertilization is the union of male and female gametes. And urine formation, of course, during the ultrafiltration, selective reaction, and hormonal secretion do occur during the process of urine formation. Okay, so ultrafiltration is a filtration that takes place under a very high pressure, while selective reabsorption is the process whereby the kidney select what to return to the body and what to pass out. Then you have hormonal secretion. So the correct option is urine formation. Dash involves the study of normal function of living organisms and their parts. Zoology, study of animal. Oncology, meteorology, that just it is just a distraction. And then we have physiology. Physiology deals with the study of function of the body. Organisms that feed on dead and decaying organic matter are called, is it parasite? No. Parasite live the host. Heterotroph? No. Heterotroph are organisms that feed on food from environment. Autotroph are the organisms that manufacture their own food. Saprophyte, yeah. The saprophyte, they feed on dead decaying organic matter. They carry out extracellular digestion of decaying matter and absorb the nutrients. Saprophyte, and the process is called saprophytism. Antibodies that cause pathogens to stick together are called antibiotics. Antibiotics is proposed for chemical inhibition by plant. Phagocytes, these are a group of red blood cells that ingest and engulf foreign particles. These are a group of white blood cells. Phagocytes are a group of white blood cells that ingest and engulf foreign particles that invade the body. Erythrocytes are red blood cells, and agglutinins. Agglutinins are the group of antibodies. Okay, it causes pathogens to clump together. That's agglutination. Next question says the cell responsible for transmission of impulses called dash. A, bone cell, no. B, epidermal cell, no. C, muscle cell, no. D, nerve cell. Nerve cell transmit impulse. The impulse will travel on the nerve cell by electrical means, and once it gets to the synapse, what's a synapse? synapse, the minute junction between two neurons. It will be when the information the impulse gets to the synapse, it becomes chemical, and then when it gets back to the neuron, it's transmitted electrically. So the correct option is nerve cell. Okay, the neurons are the specialized cells of the nervous system that stores information and carry messages within the system and between the system and every other body system. Now, the next question says, a small worm-like animal that feeds on plant and eventually develop into a butterfly or moth is called dash. Is it wriggler? No. Is it grub? Is it maggot? The correct answer is caterpillar. That's the pupa stage of a butterfly. Maggot is the larva of a housefly. Okay, so both wriggler, grub, and maggot are all larvae. Okay, so maggot is a larva of a housefly, wriggler, larva of mosquito, and grub is also a larva of another group of insects. A larva of grub is a larva of grub is a larva of just larva of another insect. Can't seem to bring that from my head now. All right. Caterpillar, on the other hand, caterpillar here is the pupa, the only pupa there, and the pupa of butterfly, and usually at the caterpillar stage might be very disgusting, but eventually it emerges into a very beautiful butterfly. So a small worm-like animal that feeds on plants and eventually develop into a butterfly or moth is called caterpillar. Tarsa is the bone of, the other time we made mention of it. Is it bone of the hand? No. The bone of the hand, if at all you're going to call it, is going to be carpus. The fingers? No. Bones of the fingers are called phalanges. The spine, that's the backbone. The feet, that's as the bones of the feet. The process by which one bacterium transfers genetic material to another through direct contact is called, is it winning? No. Budding, fission, conjugation. The process by which one bacterium transfers genetic material to another through direct contact is called conjugation. Which of the following features links bird to reptile in evolution? Which of the following features link bird to reptiles in evolution? Skeletal system, feathers, beak, scales. Of course, scale. You have scales both on reptiles and on birds. The scale of reptile generally have very dry, scaly skin. So that's of evolution. They are linked together by the pairs of scale. The glanna reproduce asexually through sporulation, no. Budding, no. Fragmentation, no. Through binary fission. They are split into two. Binary means two. The examples of autotrophic organisms include the following except Spirogyra. Spirogyra is an autotrophic organism that can manufacture food through the process of photosynthesis. Euglena can do the same, algae can, or Hydra is heterotrophic. They obtain already made food from their environment. Which of these two hormones are secreted by duodenum? Oestradiol and progesterone, prolactin and parathormone, kinase and estrogen, cholecytokinin and secretin. Cholecytokinin and secretin. So the two as the only appropriate answer there. Which of the following are present on the surface of epithelial cells that are responsible for food absorption? Phagocytic vesicle. Phagocytes are organisms that can engulf foreign and ingest foreign particles. Zymogen granule, no. Pinocytic vesicle, no. We talk about phagocytosis. We have organisms that swallow water, that drink, swallow fluid-like something into the membranes of the cell. Microvilli, of course, are the finger-like projection of the ileum, where absorption of food takes place, and it has special adaptation for it because the finger-like projection gives it a very large surface area to volume ratio, over which absorption of food can take place by diffusion. If you can slide diffuse across to option D, the appropriate answer. That is the mammalian cell that is not capable of metabolizing glucose to carbon dioxide aerobically. You see, involuntary muscle cell can carry out aerobic respiration. And in fact, where there is no oxygen for them to carry out aerobic respiration, they can have what we call muscle fatigue, can enter into oxygen depth, whereby the oxygen available to them is not sufficient to meet the respiratory demand. So lactic acid can accumulate in the cells and tissue in the muscle cells. White blood cell can carry out respiration. Liver cell, of course, liver cell need enough energy because of their numerous metabolic activities. So they also carry out aerobic respiration to be able to generate enough energy for their metabolism. Red blood cell, in fact, when red blood cell become adult, they lost they are no longer nucleated. So most of they may not be able to carry out most of the fats. Some people do call them red blood corpuscle. So the appropriate answer here is red blood cell. The next question says, in the absence of the pancreas, which of the following compound will remain undigested? Pancreatic juice consists of enzymes such as amylase, pancreatic amylase, trypsin, and even diemulsified fat alongside. So if maybe the pancreas is cut off, so it's no longer able to secrete its enzyme, which of the following food will not be digested? See, carbohydrates, protein, fat, or oil, or all of them. Option D, all the food, because we need the trypsin from the pancreas to convert peptone from the stomach to polypeptide. It is on this polypeptide that erepsin can now act upon converting polypeptide to amino acid. The pancreatic amylase also need to convert all the carbohydrates that are present that have not been converted to maltose, to disaccharide. They have to convert them to that, because the enzyme that will be secreted in the intestinal enzyme can only act on disaccharide. They can only act on all those disaccharides. So if there is no pancreatic amylase to convert the carbohydrate to the disaccharide, they will remain undigested. The same goes for fat. Fat will not be. So all the food will not be digested if the pancreas is dysfunctional, or it's not available, or it's removed. all the classes of food, there'll be problem with digestion of all the classes of food because the intermediate that are formed from the stomach need to be converted to what the enzyme of the intestinal juice can act upon. So all of them, all, option D. Where in the body are most of the fat digested? Large intestine, liver, stomach, small intestine. Most of the fat are digested in the large intestine. What is common with renin, trypsin, and amylase? A, they are all produced in the stomach. No. Though renin is produced in the stomach, trypsin is part of pancreatic juice, and amylase can be from the mouth, it can be from the pancreas. So which of the following? I say what is common to all of them? So they are not all produced in the stomach. The heart has pH lower than 7. No, it's only renin here that will need acidic pH. They are all proteolytic. Not all of them digest protein. Amylase act on carbohydrates, not on protein. They are all proteins. Okay, they are all proteolytic enzyme. That is supposed to be option C. And option D, they are all proteins. So all enzymes are proteinous in nature. You want to start from here. D, enzymes are proteinous in nature, so they are all protein. So all of them, they are all the enzymes are protein. That's what is common to them. Next question, say in the human body, the number of cervical vertebrae is it 2, is it 4, is it 5, is it 7? There are 7. The blood vessel that carry oxygenated blood from the heart to the lung is called dash. Oxygenated blood from the heart to the lungs. The blood vessel that carry deoxygenated blood. Of course, we said it because of the introduction that pulmonary artery carry deoxygenated blood to the lung, while pulmonary vein will bring oxygenated blood back to the heart. The small tube that end in the alveoli are called esophagus, trachea, bronchi, or bronchioles. Trachea divided into bronchi, bronchi divided into bronchioles. So the bronchioles, the smallest of them that end in the alveoli. The movement of ion or molecules across a cell membrane into a region of a higher concentration assisted by enzyme and requiring energy is called dash. You see, facilitated diffusion is the movement of material that are not allowed to pass through the cell membrane using transport protein that facilitate their movement. Diffusion and osmosis are passive transport, where material moves down the gradient of concentration. Active transport is the movement of material against the gradient of concentration, and it required the expedition of metabolic energy in the form of ATP. So the right answer is active transport. The number of bones in human is that is it 301, 306, 267, 206. For adult human, it is 206. The children can have their own around 300. Most of them, of course, will be united, will be joined together later on as they are developing. So the number of bone in adult human is 206. The red blood cells are produced in the dash, lymph node, heart, liver. Red blood cells are usually made in the bone marrow. Even though the liver stores a lot of blood, they are made in the red blood cells are made in the bone marrow. The largest artery in the human body is the dash. You see, pulmonary artery, no. Coronary. Coronary is just a small branch that supplies blood to the heart itself. And if it's not functioning, they can lead to cardiac arrest. Pulmonary artery carry blood from the heart to the lung to populate in the pulmonary circulation. But aorta is the largest artery, and it supplies blood. It carry blood from the heart and branches to all parts of the body. The aorta branches to all the parts of the body. Dash is the component that serves as door to regulate the heart blood flow. See, heart dams, aorta, chambers, or valve. The valves regulate they serve as the door. When the valve open, for example, we have tricuspid valve that actually flap. We have bicuspid valve. When the valves when they open, blood can they regulate the movement, the flow of blood. Which of the following blood components act as anticoagulant? Is it fibrinogen? Fibrinogen function during the clotting of blood, convert physiology is converted to fibrin by thrombin. Thrombin is another plasma protein. Globin, no. Heparin is a naturally occurring anticoagulant in the body. Dash is the mineral ion that play the main role in blood clotting. See, potassium, sodium, magnesium, or calcium. Calcium, alongside with vitamin K, play a role in the process of blood clotting. The functional unit of the kidney is neuron. Neuron is the functional unit of the nervous system, the specialized cells of the nervous system that stores information and carry messages within the system. Leukocyte is a part of the white blood cell, but nephron as the functional unit of the kidney. When the right ventricle contracts, the blood is pumped into. When the right ventricle contracts, the blood is pumped through the pulmonary artery to the lung. So D. Hypermetropia is corrected by using a divergent lens, bifocal lens, cylindrical lens, or convergent lens. Hypermetropia is a long-sightedness that need the lens that can diverge the ray from a very distant subject to the retina. You need the convergent lens. Dash is the pigment in the mammalian layer responsible for skin coloration. Erythrin, chlorochlorine, hemoglobin, melanin. Melanin is the pigment that is in the mammalian layer that is responsible for skin coloration. When it is absent, the individual become albino. And for people that are more yellow, the Oriental people, they have additional pigment called carotene. Blood in mammals transport oxygen due to the presence of a pigment called, erythrin, chlorochlorine, melanin, or hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is a pigment, ion pigment that can combine reversibly with oxygen, thereby helping the body of the animal to distribute oxygen. So oxygen combined with it to form oxyhemoglobin, as said in the course of the introduction. The collective name for all external part of the female reproductive organ is called vagina, clitoris, ovary, or vulva. The correct answer is vulva. That's the collective name for all the external part of the female reproductive organ. And lastly, metamorphosis is controlled by dash in toad. You see adrenaline. Adrenaline is an emergency hormone. You see insulin. Insulin play a role in carbohydrate metabolism. Calcitonin regulates the activities of counteract the activities of parathyroid hormone. And tyrosine is the only one here that control metamorphosis in toad. That is it for today. Thank you very much for your time. Have a nice time.